I'm Alexis Komor. I'm an associate professor at the University of California, San Diego in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. Obviously a huge honor, especially, thinking about the award. It's very broad in terms of the type of research that it can be awarded to. And so that means there was a huge pool of applicants. And out of this, very diverse group of individuals from, all across and many research disciplines, the fact that I was chosen makes it, very special to me. Also, the fact that, it's awarding innovation, and the research that I do is in, we call it, tool development, genome editing tool development. So, describing that research as innovative is among one of the, the best compliments that I could receive. It's really nice to be able to, for this award to acknowledge the fact that, okay, despite, I haven't been in this career for, decades and decades, to kind of tip their hat at me and still say that, the research that I've done is very compelling and impactful. I think a lot of what it is just sort of looking at the same challenges that many other people are looking at in biological problems, and looking at it from a different perspective and applying different disciplines to it. So also, this Young Innovator Award is also kind of awarded on behalf. It's supposed to be, very multidisciplinary. And so that was, very important to me because I was trained as a chemist, and I still think very much like a chemist. But the research that I do now is very biological. And so, looking at human genetic variation and developing ways to edit the genome. And so, to me, innovation and curiosity is taking that training in chemistry and applying it to new disciplines, and just looking at, some of the same old problems that we have, but from a different perspective. And so that's kind of, where we're going. And I'm very interested in, as I mentioned, human genetic variation, and as well as approaching the genome editing problem. So how can we change the sequence of the genome of a live cell, but approach that problem and maybe do it in new and creative ways, and ways that, people never thought of, rather than kind of taking the ways that we've been doing it for a while and just tweaking them. Yeah, so I want to have two answers for this. And so the first one, is broadly my mentors. So they, my PhD advisor, Jackie Barton, she was very influential to me, being one of the few women in the field of chemical biology and inorganic chemistry. And then my postdoc advisor, David Liu, as well, who really encouraged me to take my training in chemistry and dive into a new discipline and, learn new things. So, a lot of times when you're a postdoc, you're like, oh my gosh, I have to come into this lab and really hit the ground running and know what I'm doing and utilize tools and training that I've already developed. But he was very, very supportive of allowing me to delve into a new field and learn a lot of new techniques and, get a lot of new training and get whatever I needed to be able to, approach and join this new field. And so they were, just super supportive and allowing me the space and encouraging me to do the research that I was really interested in. Despite what my background and my training was, they said, okay, just, figure it out, do whatever you need to do to learn those new techniques. And then secondly, now as an independent career, my mentees. So all the trainees in my lab, grad students, undergrads, postdocs, they have been just instrumental in me so first of all, just getting the lab set up and established, which, was huge ordeal in itself. And then also allowing me to kind of bring the research in my own direction and establish myself as an independent investigator. So, in some of those early days, kind of sitting down and having a roundtable discussion with the trainees and just saying, like, what do we think? This is, what my expertise is in, but, I want to do new things. I want to, what are some, challenges that you think are interesting? And kind of giving them that space to brainstorm and think about, new problems or old problems, but approaching them from different angles. So yeah, both my mentors and my mentees have, been really influential in very different ways. A huge thing for me was don't hesitate to ask for help. So again, I kind of approached this new field and it was very intimidating and I wasn't sure if I knew what I was doing. And it took a lot of guts for me to just initially kind of like walk up to someone in the lab and say, like, I need to, run a PCR and I've never run a PCR before. Can you show me how? And not worrying about like wasting their time or just feeling stupid that you have to ask. That's, we're, don't have an ego about it. If you need help, ask for help. That was the biggest thing that helped me. And also, establishing my independent career as well. I kind of, sought out many, mentors. So other like senior colleagues and older faculty. They didn't ask to mentor me. I was just kind of like, you know what? I like the way that you do science. I think you're really successful and I'm going to ask you for help. And, not feeling bad about taking up some of their time, to get the advice that you need.